I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who shared and really started to kind of check themselves, especially for those of you who are not black. I do want to just express my gratitude for your support and your kind words, but I also want to know that that wasn't really about me. Yes, I did express my truth. Yes, I was very raw with emotion. Yes, I was challenging myself. And I guess what I was doing something very publicly that you should all be doing anyway, and that we should all be doing in terms of checking ourselves. And I've been getting a lot of messages, DMs from people who are not black, asking what they can do and asking to be educated on what they should do, what they can do, what this. It is not a black person's job to educate anyone. And I know it doesn't sound nice, might not land in a pleasant way, but there are so many resources out there that you don't need a black person to educate you. There are enough resources out there to educate you. Okay, LaYinka, I'm going to hold my tongue because some of the words that may come out, like I don't want the Malaika to write them down, But it's not our job. It is not our place to educate non-black folk on how to treat us as humans. It's not our job. So I do want to actually help you out and support you a little bit. For those of you who are black and non-black, Asian. So when I'm saying non-black, I'm talking about Asian, Arabs, white, everybody who's not black, right? Let me help you out a little bit because you are asking for some help. So let me help you out a little bit. What you can do, first of all, to check yourself and start within yourself. Really start to question your own beliefs. Start to see your own prejudices. Start to question your actions. So if you've ever found yourself getting uncomfortable around a black person, especially a black male, there's some mess up in there. If you feel fearful around a black man, there is something going on within you that you need to check. If you find yourself preferring lighter shades, you need to question that and look into yourself. If you look at curly, coily, kinky hair of any kind of, there's loads of variations out there, right? So even just curly hair as being a problematic and more problematic than straight hair, you need to check that. Okay? Anything that is connected to blackness that is often seen as underhanded, maybe the shape of your nose. Yeah. If you've got a bit of a bulbous nose rather than a straight one, and you think that there's something wrong with your nose as a result because of the shape, you need to check that. Because those of us who say that we are not racist, I'm not racist. I've got a black friend. I'm not racist. I've got a black this. I'm not racist. I've got it. Listen. Okay, fine. You like so-and-so because they're black. That's fine. I get you. But as a whole, what is your heart inclined to for reals? And it's important for you to check that. If, as a woman, your daughter came with a black man, would you marry her to him? Let's not talk about preferences. You like your food in a certain way and blah blah blah. Would you marry your daughter to him? If your son, would you marry your son to her? For reals. It's time to kind of get real with ourselves. Get real and face our own ugliness and face our own mess. So it's not about coming to a black person. How can I help you? Go inwards and say, how can you start to change within yourself? That's the first thing. Secondly, you don't need to help us as black people. You need to be anti-racist within your own crowd. That's how you help. Call it out. When someone makes a racist remark and you are silent, you're complacent. When someone is looking down on a skin tone and you are silent, you are in agreement. When someone is talking about someone's hair or someone's nose, someone's ass or someone's this or that are typically attributed to a black person, and you don't say anything, you're complacent and you're in agreement. Call it out amongst your people. Call it out in your homes. If you hear it with a child, call it out. That's how you do the work. The work starts inside, in the communities they are happening in. It starts by you getting real about the mess. I have had many invitations to talk about anti-racism in Islam since yesterday on various platforms. And speaking to my good friend Naima B. Robert, like literally for an hour or 2 hours just now, something that she said that I wanted to share is that actually, you know what? You don't need a black person to come and talk about anti-racism or anti-blackness in Islam, or racism in Islam, or anti-blackness in Islam. You don't need a black person to talk about it. You actually need an Arab or an Asian or whoever to call it out in your own communities. That's actually what needs to happen. We should not have to be the mouthpiece to call people out, where you should be calling yourselves out. You should be calling yourselves out. You should be calling it out loud and proud. Yes, you're going to get people who don't like you. Yes, you may get ostracized. Yes, that's true. But that's what happens when you choose to no longer side with the oppressor. You will get people who don't like you when you want to speak the truth. It's a fact of life. The work starts where the racism exists, and it starts inside. It starts inside and in the communities that are happening. In the masjid, when you see in the masjid board and there is no black person on the board, check that. Check that. Ask them, why do you not have anyone black on the board? Why? Why will you reject that black imam's application? We need to actually start speaking about these things. But you know what? I have found time and time again, when it is a black person speaking about it, we are seen as being angry. We are seen as being aggressive. We are seen as being this. So you guys need to do the work. We're just out here trying to live. You guys need to do the work. And I'm not here to be a mouthpiece for anti-blackness. I'm not here to be a mouthpiece for racism in Islam or racism full stop. I'm not here out trying to act like I'm an expert. There are people who are doing the work. Find them. They are easily accessible on the internet. Layla Saad is one of them. Go find her. Engage with her content and what she has put out there. They have put so much out there for free. Just do not go into their DMs and ask them to educate you, because they've been educating for free for the longest time. Don't disrespect them and their time by asking them to educate you. Read the books, listen to the podcasts, engage in the discussions, engage in your own introspection. Check yourself, check your people in your household, check your people in your communities, check your families, call it out. Recognize your privileges, recognize what you have accessible to you, more accessible to you because because of your not being black, and call it out. There are plenty of people doing the work. I'm not one of them. So please don't look to me as an authority. I'm not. I'm still working through my own emotions in this and how I'm navigating this personally. I also want to say to the black folk, there's something that I want to say to black people, that we need to also check our internalized racism and how we have internalized racism, because we have inferiority complexes. The bleaching, Why do we bleach skin? People bleach their skin because they've decided that something closer to whiteness is beautiful. Right? Women will have their noses changed because they've decided that something closer to whiteness is beautiful. They will decide that they need to straighten their hair because kinky hair is ugly. Like, let's be real and get clear on our own internalized racism, because that exists too within us as black people. And so as black people, and this is something that I loved in my conversation with Naima today, we were just talking about how we can do the work, and the work is on our perception of ourselves. If you've decided as a black person that you won't marry your own, and you will go out to marry because you deem your own to be inferior, you need to check that. Because you have absorbed a particular perception somewhere at some point. Okay, it's cool if you like someone of a different color, that's fine, but I'm asking you to check the truth, because often the truth is not just down to preference, it's down to something else. It's deeper than that. Check ourselves. We need to check ourselves as Black people too, because we have our own prejudices within ourselves that we have absorbed as a result of racism. Self-hatred is real. Self-hatred is real. If you choose that you will never have Black friends because you've decided all Black people are a certain way, you need to check that. Check that, because when did you decide that? Where did you get that narrative from? When did you make that as truth? And how true is it really? I really hope that this is useful and that it gives you some starting points to do the work. And I'm glad that today isn't as charged, even though there are so many things that I could say. But I'm hoping that those who take benefit find the benefit, and you can start doing the work. And those who aren't Black, seriously have these discussions in your communities. Have these discussions. You don't need Black people to get on panels to discuss them. You need to have someone who has the guts and the balls to be able to say enough. Enough. And don't bring a Black person just for the sake of tokenism, because we're not tokens. Okay, for the sake of representation. We're not tokens of representation out here. If you're going to invite a Black person because you feel like they have actually something valuable to, you can see their value, you can see their worth, and you know that they've got something to bring to the table, not to tick a representation checklist box thing, We need to do better, and the work starts inside. Inshallah, this is useful. I will not have any questions on this, because there are so many people who are qualified to talk on this subject matter. I'm just a woman navigating what I recognize as my own mess in dealing with racism. So as I'm doing the work, I invite you all to do the work too. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's only as difficult as we make it, for us to really, really start making tracks and taking action towards change. Posting, "Oh, I'm so sorry," is not enough. I'm sorry. Posting, "Oh, I feel your pain, I hear you." That's not enough. That's not enough. It ticks a box, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You need to, and you've probably seen it online, you actually need to be anti-racist, not just a sympathizer and an empathizer, but an actual anti-racist, where you will call it out wherever you see it, wherever you hear it. You will call it out, regardless of who it is, regardless of their status. You will call it out, period.